thanking you for this opportunity. It's a great pleasure for me to be here in Japan, my third time and my second time in Okazaki. Um, so I will start um, talking about where I'm coming from. I come from this National Laboratory for Advanced Microscopy, which is in Mexico, and we are really working hard as a community to build the Mexican bioimaging and to change that. And my presentation will start with a joint effort that we did last year between the communities in America, which was this effort to join meetings. So we had the LABI ex-PINA, which was a continent effort of the two largest imaging communities in Americas. And so what is happening now in America is that the community is growing exponentially, and that also includes to Latin America. This is also an advertisement. We also publish papers from the conference, and we published this paper in which we describe the momentum that was happening at that time last year in the community. So, and in here, what we did during the meeting, we mapped the facilities that can be or cannot be considered as imaging hubs in Latin America, what has been the challenges that they went through during the process of creation, sustainability, what are the challenges to introduce new technologies, and so on and so forth. But also something that we revisited in this meeting was what are the professional graduate programs that exist elsewhere. So instead of just giving courses of 1 week or 2 weeks, really professional programs. So we have mapped some of those, and we are also working in trying to understand what is the architecture of our community. And so that happened in the LABI meeting. And in the BINA meeting, we have the participation of some of you guys. This is one of the maps that it really shocked me. So this is the Bioimage town that was drawn by Josh Moore. And you know, I go walking home daily. So but when I see a metro station, you can see how much I get lost. It happened to me the 3 times that came to here in Tokyo. I got lost. So I'm lost, I also look for help. And I'm going to play this game with you. So when I ask ChatGPT how to become knowledgeable about the intricacies of image data management ecosystem and avoid getting lost within the bioimaging town metro map. And the idea is to collect all the information that is elsewhere in the internet and to see what we are doing and if it fits or not. Okay, so the first answer that I got is to avoid getting lost in the complexity. I'd suggest the following steps. First, define your scope. Begin. Yep. No. Begin by determining your specific needs. So what you want to do, what are your problems? Identify the key areas of difficulty like data acquisition, storage, processing, analysis, and so on and so forth. But don't forget that you have an elephant in the room. So be really, really aware of the problem that you are facing. Another recommendation that I got is to understand first principles, familiarize yourself with these principles that will guide you to manage your data in the bioimaging ecosystems and for you to be able to share and reuse the data, okay? So another answer that I got is, well, understand what is going on with the data repositories and standards and make use of the well-established technology. So guys, you already recognized by ChatGPT that you have, that you are creating the recognized standards. But I would love also to include much others that the community is participating in these efforts, which are fantastic. And I mean, these platforms provide examples of how bioimaging data should be stored and will you to improve your practices. So, and in here I will give you some experiences that we have, personal experience in our research lab. Okay, but it is important also to learn about metadata standards such as Homero, of course. And so what we have been doing in Mexico, so I also lead a research lab, and we develop technology, so we develop algorithms to enhance the images, to do single frame super resolution microscopy. And when we published this paper, Nature Communications asked us to put the data on the web. So when I was discussing this with my students, I asked them, okay, check what we have elsewhere and to determine what will be the best databases. So they went and found the Bioimage Archive and Zenodo, and they told me, oh, Bioimage Archive seems to be very, very complex, so let's go to Zenodo. And we, and we end up having this list. So the data of figure 2, figure 3, figure 4, and so on and so forth. So, and I have not been able to change this architecture within my research lab. Because always that I'm collaborating with people, they want to put the data for the figures, not the data for the problem that we are trying to solve. And just by naming the folders, it gives a message. I will give you the data that you are asking for, not the data that you want to reuse. And this is an important message. We have to start changing the philosophy of that. And you know, this year I have 3 papers accepted or published that have data, and all my colleagues were always following this path, and I pushed them to really change it, and they just want to have the data out. So there is a change in philosophy that we really need to work it. But anyway, so I will bring to this data set, which we were discussing previously about the Argo light samples. So we published the data, the images, and of course of the figure 3 and 4. So we use these Argo lights to test resolution in our system and to test how we can increase resolution with our algorithms. And as you can see here, this is the resolution of a confocal microscope because we can separate these 2 lines, and here you cannot, but after imaging processing, you can. I mean, so we also use those Argo lights to use area scan microscopy and to see that area scan indeed gives you a bit more resolution and how we can improve that. Okay, so we publish the data and in Zenodo, and then after a few months later, we had this paper published from a group from China that took the data, analyzed the data with their own algorithm, and published their own principle. So, and I really like to see that they cite that they get the data from the paper and also from the repository. So I'm very happy with that. So this is an example of data reuse. And I bring this because it's standards. They are using the images and standards to test algorithms. So that is another way to share the philosophy. Okay, so what we are doing right now is also interacting with the databases and going through that process and learning from it. So here I'm going to share that we download data from SSVD, from the Bioimage Archive, and so on and so forth, understanding the complexities. And with this case, so this is image-based flow cytometry images, and we process those images with the measure approach. And one thing that we found in the data is that they were using this image-based flow cytometry like just flow cytometry to score the quantity of fluorescence in the cells, nothing about morphology. So we want to reuse this data to make questions about the local distribution of molecules, whether they are in the center, whether they have radial distribution, and so on and so forth. So there is plenty of possibilities to do data reuse, and we are going to explore them. Okay, of course, this is work in progress. It is not published, but we will get there at some point. And also, so this technology that we developed works, but we wanted to have it faster. So it's based in using edge detectors, Mexican hats. So we yeah, we changed the Mexican hat by other distant Mexican hats. We reuse our own data to see that we can get the same results. But we also get data from SSDV to see whether those results are faster. So as you can see here, if we use different Mexican hats, we can have several times speeding the process. So I think that this is the kind of philosophy that we must transmit to the people, not only saying you can reuse the data, but actually reusing the data and showing that it is possible to learn new things. So more recommendations from ChatGPT. So you should engage with bioimaging communities and resources. Connect with relevant working groups like you guys and communities such as Euro-BioImaging, Global Bioimaging, No Bias, low bias. Yes, ChatGPT gave me No Bias. And let's to include the full ecosystem, okay? So these organizations provide a wealth of resources, guidelines, and expertise that can help navigate the data management landscape. Okay, so this is the global bioimaging ecosystem. So this is my experience with GBI. Okay, so I went to the GBI meeting in Montevideo, Uruguay, and that was my first interaction with the global bioimaging community. So I was one of the top 7 grantees. Thank you for the evaluators and to CCI that gave the money for this. So I had the opportunity to present this project that was funded that is funded actually by CCI, in which we are organizing schools of microscopy all around Mexico. At the moment, we have organized 9 schools of microscopy, some of the fundamentals, some of the advanced microscopy, and also others of image analysis. So this is a running project, and we have impacted more than 500 people in Mexico. After going to this meeting, check the dates, September, we took the opportunity to run a meeting, a facility management workshop in Mexico. And from GBI, that this was the first in-person international training course since the start of the pandemic. So it was a challenge for us. Imagine we start the meeting and at some point the projector didn't work anymore because it was full of dust and these kind of things we really, really struggled. So, and the main topic on this was focusing on image management and image data. And specifically, so on day 4, we have some of you guys speaking about FAIR principles, image data management, data reuse, through the repository. So this was the first time that I knew about the existence of Bioimage Archive. And from that, it changed my life. It changed the way in which I've been doing science since then. And so later on, I came here. So to the ABGBI course on image data. But this time, I came as a student. After 10 years of being professor in several things, I was a student. And it was a brilliant experience. I really recommend you to go and being a student because you learn much more. So, and then after a few, I think, yes, a few months later, we organized the Bioimaging across Americas in Mexico, where we also have the topics of managing and sharing data. So you have been impacting Latin America in different ways. So after that, I was talking with Gleb, and finally we convinced him to have the course that happened here in Japan. We made the homologous in Mexico, so that's why we were speaking about fair data and metadata, but now teaching students, teaching people that work in the facility management. And then after, we run the LABI X Super Res, which was the Latin American Bioimaging meeting in Rio de Janeiro, and see what we have here in our topics: foster innovation in data management from biomedical impact. So we are trying to do something, yeah, okay? So, well, from these recommendations that we got from ChatGPT's engaged in forums, conference, and workshops, well, I also got engaged because Katarina dragged me to the quality control and data management working group of BINA, and then I end up in QuaRep in the microscopy data provenance and quality control metadata, and now we are starting the data science for bioimaging working group in LABI. So together with Federico Lecumberri, we are trying to run this. So in the conference of Rio, we make one of these panels of discussions, and we get some feedback from the community. So this is the feedback. What are the problems that we have in Latin America? Okay, so this is the Wordle. You might identify some of these words: data, image, difficult, infrastructure, analyst, management, training, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's go for the statements. We need money. need funding and need awareness from our community to get that funding. Okay, so it's hard to keep track of the data and its availability. We need the standards and guidelines. Okay, yes, of course, because we want to store the data and handling the data, and we need help. Help me to analyze my data. But we also want to learn how to analyze our data. Okay, so these are the needs that the community is expressing, and so we would like to have access to high-end computing, and in Latin America, There is infrastructure, but there are in some countries or in some cities really concentrated and nothing else works. And there is also, Latin America is huge. So there is plenty needs about mobility and to access the infrastructures. But this was the most striking that I got. I already knew it, but people tell you. So in some countries, the general concept of data management is not present, okay? So there is much, much more to do there. Okay, so we end up with some proposed actions and is education. So in short-term action is include increased capacity in training by offering training at different levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced, or considering more hybrid courses. And of course, trying to lobby with policymakers to improve the funding in our countries. So we also got this comment from CCI, which is, okay, to careful know, before starting, you need to know, to get some kind of metrics about the needs. How many courses, numbers of users, in need for a specific infrastructure, and so on and so forth. Because you need to start from, you need to know your baseline. Okay, our baseline is this one. So there is plenty things to do in Latin America. There are some countries that are more advanced than others, but we have to push in every direction that we can. So with this, I want to thank you for the invitation. And I'm also, yes, 3 minutes before. And of course, I would love to thank to the founders, to the community, and also to the teams of every work that is making this possible. And thank you to you for staying here.